Well, hi again. Let's continue with basically our presentation. And last time I have told you that wage is creating two different effects. One effect was created by the fact that when you have, a higher wage, well, basically you have a higher income, you can afford to work less in that case. If you think leisure as a good, you can buy more of leisure. But having higher wage means actually all other things, consumption goods, have the same price, while leisure has a higher price because by working uh, less, you are losing more money. In that case, you can substitute from leisure to other goods. So it has a substitution effect. Now because in other words, if you express it in more human terms, now you can earn more, you might be more motivated to work a longer time. Um, how can we represent these two effects graphically? This way, basically. Uh, you might think the method is imperfect, and that's okay. It's perfect okay to criticize the method, but I will just told you the method itself, and it's very similar to uh, uh, the effect you might have seen in the microeconomics when basically price of a good in a two-good model changes. So in this case, BC is the old budget line. Your wage increases, so BE has become the new budget line. And when BE has become new budget line, in order to in the old optimum labor time was L1, new optimum labor time is L3. So basically, increase in wage has in this case led to decrease in the optimum labor time of our worker. Now, how to separate the substitution effect and income effect? In order to measure the substitution effect, we assume we draw a hypothetical budget line, which is drawn by dot, this is the dots, GF, and we draw this hypothetical budget line in a way so that our budget line, this hypothetical budget line, will have same slope as our new budget line BE, but it will be tangent to the old utility, the utility curve that represents the highest utility level we could get when our budget line was BC. Well, in a way, it is assumed that when the highest level of utility, which could be similar to in real world life standards, is the same. Until life standards means basically both leisure provides us with life standards and the income both play a role in this case. So if a highest attainable utility level is the same, then there is no income effect. Because the wage increase is compensated by a decrease in the non-labor market income, so the utility level we can reach remains the same. So this is the case when there is no income effect, but substitution effect is there because the wage level is still higher, and basically still the price of consumption goods remains the same, the prices of them remains the same, while the price of leisure, which is equal to wage, has increased. So if price of leisure has increased, in that case we will substitute to the goods whose price remains the same, which means we will increase our labor time and decrease our leisure time and have more income. So in other words, we are here, this is our new budget line. When we work the same amount, we will have less income, same leisure, But if we have less income and same leisure, our income is more valuable in that case. So we will rather basically rather decrease our leisure time and increase our income in that case. So on this new budget line, basically, I mean, because our income is less and basically our leisure is the same, we prefer to increase our leisure time a little bit and basically our labor time a little bit and basically have a higher level of income. So our new point, optimum labor time, will be L2 in this case. It's kind of like your income suddenly drops, but you have same leisure time. You are able to have higher amount of wage. Basically, that would lead to people switch to have a higher working time in this case. So this is a substitution effect. The substitution effect in this case is L2 minus L1. Again, it is pretty much explained with the fact that, I mean, leisure has become more expensive compared with the consumption goods. So we prefer to switch from leisure to the consumption goods because leisure is more expensive. Income effect, on the other hand, is explained by the fact that since we have now higher income as a result of this wage increase, so working the same amount of time will provide us more income. So using this income, we are able to basically buy more leisure time. So in this case, income effect is measured by L2 minus L3. Well, L3 minus L2, that it's negative. So we will decrease our labor time as a result of income effect. So L2 minus L1 is the substitution effect, which is positive. We increase our labor time when as a result of substitution effect. And L3 minus L2 is the income effect, which is negative, which means we will basically decrease our labor time as a result of income effect. So the total effect created by the wage increase is L3 minus L2, L1, which is negative, which means basically we decrease our labor time as a result of the wage increase. So this is the case when the income effect is dominant. Dominant basically, it dominates the substitution effect. It's also possible to have the substitution effect be the dominant effect. In that case, the wage increase will increase the labor time of the people. This is the case. This is the graph where substitution effect dominates the income effect. So, what does the model tell us in economic terms? Real economic terms, it tells us whenever for a worker additional leisure time is less valuable than the income she will lose by working 1 hour, she will decrease the labor time. Logical, I think. Whenever a worker's additional leisure time is less valuable than income earned by working 1 more hour, then she will increase her labor time. Very logical. We just model these logical conclusions, basically. Nothing surprising. Whenever non-labor market income of a worker increases, she will ideally willing to work less. Again, our worker doesn't enjoy work; he just works for having more income. So when he has non-labor market income, he or she can afford to buy more leisure time. I mean, work less since he already has this additional income. Whenever wage rate of a worker increases, on the one hand, this increase This increases her potential income level, so she can afford to allocate more time for leisure. On the other hand, the way she lost spending by spending additional hour of leisure is greater. So if I work, I can buy such more consumption goods, she might say, and as a result, she might substitute her leisure time for more income. Well, we have predicted, well, if the overall wealth level increases, this will encourage some workers to get out of the labor force. Being wealthy means you can use your wealth as a source of income by either you can become capitalist and get profit, but you can also buy houses and get rent, or you can put your money to the bank and get interest rate. In all cases, you can use your wealth. Your wealth provides you with some income. With profits, you may need to manage your factory, but you might also choose to basically hire a manager, and in that case, you can purely get profit without doing any work. Larger wealth will decrease the optimal labor time of workers according to the model. I mean, individually, the wealthier people will work less in that case. So, if we have a more wealthy society, people might be willing to work less than the optimum, less basically. So there might be, I mean, if you have this kind of a segment, I mean, a relatively wealthier segment of the society, those people might be willing to work less than the standard working time, 8 hours, and basically they might be willing to work at part-time jobs. And according to some views, actually, the rise of part-time jobs might be a result of this fact. I mean, some people might be willing to work less than full-time because, I mean, the overall wealth level in society, I mean, has increased as in developed countries, people become more wealthy. But it might be also possible that, again, if we assume the workers are not able to choose, but the employer choose to employ part-time the people, in that case, I mean, the service jobs increasingly the job as increasing the job providers become service become the companies in service sectors. They might basically just want their workers whenever they need them, which might not be they might not need their workers to work full time. So whether the increase in available part-time jobs in the 21st century economics is a result of the supply side or demand side, well, that's one discussion, and well, basically whether the demand, the willingness to work part time, the workers' willingness to work part time has created those part time jobs, or the increasing, the new conditions that create necessity of part-time workers from the employer side has created. It is a discussion by itself. Having a target income level, that's an interesting thing. I mean, some workers might have a certain target income level, and then they might say, okay, if I earn this income, I don't want to work more than that. In that case, if the wages for example, of those workers increase, in that case, they will definitely decrease their labor time because all they want is to reach that target income level and not more. Is this possible? Will people just want to reach a certain living standards which require a certain target income level and not work more? Well, we might say in this economic system, we might ask whether those workers exist, and usually economists think that this type of behavior doesn't exist. I mean, because the current society encourages us to have more and better quality products, even if we have already clothing and we wear one cloth. I mean, we are encouraged to wear better clothes in the end of the day. But actually, that was a case in the history, and I will talk more on this in the next part.